Welcome to Two Bitches and a Broom podcast. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode, where we are going to go into all things altars. And that's our topic of the week: what it is, how you can utilize it, the purpose behind it, and kind of clear some fear and misunderstanding about altars. Because sometimes when people hear it, they think, ooh, I
Yeah,
don't want
I
to
know.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah.
So uh this is I now that I'm thinking about it, I do this has been a topic for quite a bit of people across my path, and clearing some misconceptions, because again, a lot of people hear the word altar and they think uh not the greatest things about it. So
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
gonna blow your mind today.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's so many people that when they hear altar, they're like, oh, evil, maniacal,
Mm-hmm.
devil, Satan worshiper, all that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but actually, you probably have one in your home right now, and you don't even realize it.
Don't even know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So an altar is just a designated sacred space where you can focus on your spiritual practices, where you can connect to higher powers, and where you can perform rituals if you so choose. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
kind of cover that. Uh, Today we're going to cover it, but I mean the reality is historically altars have been central to a lot of religious traditions, not
Yeah.
just Christianity but Hinduism, Buddhism, paganism. They've all been used as places of worship, offerings, meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're not spooky, scary. Hopefully, we're going to take the spooky, scary woo-woo out of it, you know?
Yeah. Make it more make it more of an epiphany that, oh crap, I
Yep,
already have some form of that going on.
yep.
Um, and I think uh just in my world, um one of the most common ones that people don't realize are ancestral
Oh, yeah.
altars,
Yeah, people have them
you know.
all over their house. It's so funny. You'll walk in and they'll have like a picture of their deceased loved one. They'll have the urn here, and then they'll have like flowers they loved or something there. And it's like, oh yeah, that's an ancestral altar. And they're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no. Yeah, that's exactly what that is, you know. Uh,
Yep. That one is the most, I think for me, is the most common one that I come across for people that don't even realize they're holding space with having an altar and holding space for something particular is the ancestral one.
mhm.
Because most everyone has a space in their home where they're honoring those that have passed before, even if it's just a simple picture on a, on a dresser or something like that.
Mhm.
It's still an altar.
Mhm.
So
You're paying homage
ancestors,
to them.
you're paying, exactly, you're honoring,
Yeah.
you know. So that's one type of altar. What's another common one that people don't realize that they already have,
A working
that you think?
altar. I've
Mm,
walked into so many people's homes, and it's a working altar, and they're like, it'll have like a candle, some incense, a stone, you know, and it may be on a bookshelf. You know what I mean?
yep,
So
yeah,
because it's on a bookshelf, they're like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It doesn't matter if it's this little bookshelf. It doesn't matter if it's a shelf
yeah,
attached to the wall. It doesn't have to be this, elaborate setup, that's draped in velvet and all that shit. It's not like that. It could be a
Yeah.
table that you bought from Gardner White, okay? And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, it looks like I used a sideboard that was in my dining area for years. I used that,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Mm-hmm.
my altar space.
Yeah.
I had little kids. I didn't want them getting in and touching stuff, and it was high enough where they couldn't reach it, and it worked out really great.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point to make. And the highlighted point for this episode is an altar can be anything that on a, like what you said, on a bookshelf. It can be a little ledge on a wall of
Hmm.
pictures.
Yeah.
It can be the tiniest corner
Hmm.
in a space or a room, and it's still an altar. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I see a lot of people have is it, they think it has to be some elaborate setup and a dedicated whole, big shebang kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's not the case at all. Yeah. I think you
Yeah.
made a really great point.
I went to a family member's home, and they had their Bible open, and it was sitting on this um like stand to hold it open to this page. They had
Mm-hmm.
candles, they had little angel statues.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, cannot remember what it was. They had a bowl of holy water, I remember that. And there was some herb that my brain just cannot remember at this time, but there was an herb that was out, and there was little flowers that were out. And I'm like, that's fucking altar. That's what that is. That is an altar. There's absolutely no difference. They are An altar is something that will hold your symbolic items that represent the elements of your belief, your intentions. That's it. So it can be candles, it can be crystals, it can be statues, it can be sacred texts. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think every altar has just their specific meaning, their specific purpose, but it is contributing to the energy of that space. So in the illustration I just give you of a family member, theirs was Christianity, right? So that was representing their belief system. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
is. That's
Yep.
it. That's it. I mean, and I just think it's comical that if you are a metaphysical practitioner, it's bad, it's woo-woo, it's devilish, but if a Christian does it, then it's godly and
It's
it's
okay.
perfect.
It's
It's
fine.
like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's not how that works. It's all
Yeah.
the same thing. It's the same
I've
thing.
heard that too, just in Christianity, even in Catholicism. So every house of Catholic individuals I've ever been to or seen, they all have a little section where there's various saints and depictions of
Yeah.
Mary and Jesus and all that stuff. And and then
There's
we
usually a
throw
rosary hanging up
a
somewhere.
rosary
Yep.
hanging somewhere. And then I know, like, it's just personally in island custom, there's usually always something, a candle or
Sure.
um, some kind of homage to a loved one that's passed
Yep.
there too.
Hmm.
And that's exactly right. It's deemed okay for that because it's tied to an organized religion. I call it earth-based religion.
Hmm.
Um, but if they go into, for example, like one of our spaces and they see, a certain kind of altar,
Hmm.
then it's, oh, that's the devil. Like
Yeah.
that's not, but okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there is, okay, I think we should talk about the benefits of having an
Mhm.
altar. So, one of the, like, why I encourage you to have one, or to embrace the fact that you already have one, is that it will enhance your focus and your intention. And metaphysical practices, intention is everything. It is paramount.
Yeah.
It is the stepping stone to our practice. It will help you concentrate your thoughts, your intentions. It will make your spiritual practice more effective.
It amplifies that. Your intention is your driving force, and that an altar amplifies that intention. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a disco in here. I'm sorry. They're having fun today.
They're coming in hot today.
Yeah. So
Apparently, this is a conversation that's needed.
yeah, apparently. So
Yeah.
I think that, when you create a sacred space, it enhances our sense of sanctity, our reverence for our practice. I've never seen a religious individual that was um feeling bashful about, or feeling like they shouldn't have their religious depictions spread out in their house. They've never been like, oh, this is bad, or oh, don't look at this, or I want to hide this, or but there's so many metaphysical practitioners that are. So I'm hoping this will kind of rip that away, and that
Right.
there's nothing to feel like bad or wrong, that you are simply embracing your practice, that's just my opinion. I think when
Yeah.
you are spending time at your altar, it can really give you a sense of peace. Um, it can reduce your stress. It can promote emotional healing. And all of that is crucial, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going along if you are one to head forward on your path and your intention is already there, that you are putting in the work and working on yourself and going through your healing process and, all of that jazz. Uh, yeah, an altar can absolutely, I look at it also as, it's a space that helps not only just amplify your intention, but keep your own self mindful of
Absolutely.
your intention, because it's something that you're looking at on a daily basis, if it's in your home or in your workspace. And I feel like too, even just for practitioners, it it's also, and again, this is probably just my opinion, but it's also how we show up for our team as well. Our
Absolutely.
our team, those that assist us on the side of spirit. It's also I look at it too also as a respect thing. I'm showing up to do this, and out of respect, I maintain this altar. I do all of the stuff. So it's like twofold. It's for you, your practice, but it's also for those that are working their asses off on the other side
Absolutely.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think what is important is that that altar will serve as a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms.
Mm-hmm.
It will help you to facilitate a deeper connection with your higher self and with your divine, whatever that may be for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is that, you know, it is your church. It is that space where you
Yeah.
will go to connect with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back after this short break.
In the hustle and bustle of modern life, finding time for spiritual growth can be challenging. But what if there was a way to reconnect with your inner self? to find peace and clarity amidst the chaos. Introducing the Shamanic Path, your guide to spiritual development and inner peace. At the Shamanic Path, we offer a range of online courses designed to nurture your spirit and elevate your consciousness. For those just beginning their spiritual quest, to the advanced practitioners looking to expand, we are here to support you on your journey every step of the way. Discover the power of your intuition, the beauty that comes with connecting, and the joy of self-discovery. Embrace the journey to a more enlightened, balanced, and fulfilled life. Take that first step today. Visit theshamanicpaths.com and begin your journey. And I find it interesting. I can always tell because, when you're called in to do house clearings and things of that nature, I can always tell what type of practitioner they are when I walk in and I see their altar. That looks pristine and, nothing's touched or, there isn't like 10 pounds of incense. I know that they're
Right.
like the Sunday Christian, you know what I mean? Like where they put on the clothes for Sunday and then
Right.
they're just, cussing and drinking and partying it up all week long. You know what I mean?
It's the sin on Saturday, ask for forgiveness on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right back to it on Monday.
Yeah, if you have that pristine altar, then that label kind of goes into my head. They're that. They're not that person that is working with their altar all the time. Because there's no way in hell, if you are a practitioner, that your altar is going to stay nice and clean and clear. There's no way. I am like, my house is super, super, super clean and organized, and my altar, no ma'am. No ma'am. Because I'm always burning something. I'm always preparing something. There is some working that is always taking place. There's tons of incense that is either ashed or being burned pretty consistently. Different stones, different grids are going on. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It is. I mean, even when I know for me too, even just the days that I do clean and refresh altars, or whichever one I'm working with,
yeah.
it's immediately tarnished because as soon as it's done, I'm already lighting something. I'm already lighting something else.
And that's
So
me.
it doesn't stay, it doesn't stay because it's, oh, nice, fresh and clean. It never works out that way. But it is. That's an interesting thing is I know just for us, viewing somebody's altar can absolutely tell you insight of the type of practitioner or how they are working with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. So maybe we can talk about how they can set up their altar, like give them some steps. So first off, choose your location, right? Obviously, if you have kids running around like I did, right, you want to make sure it's nothing that they can get into, especially candles, incense, fire, let's not
yeah,
let them
let's
have
not.
access to that. So make it high enough where they won't have access to it. Make sure it's in a quiet, private area of your home. Where you can feel comfortable. I will tell you though, your altar will literally, people will be drawn to it. It's weird. People in your house, the people that live there, they will be drawn to it. They will congregate. They will be drawn to that area. And that just goes to show that the power that it contains, in my opinion.
Oh
In
yeah.
my opinion.
Especially I've noticed too, like especially kids, like
Yeah.
young ones,
Mm-hmm.
I should say, are
Yep.
drawn to it. And I want to insert a little side note also. You can have, for whoever needs to hear this, you can have multiple altars. There's different types
Oh yeah.
of altars that you can have as well.
Yes.
So you don't have to have just one that has to be for everything.
Yeah.
You can have a personal one that you are setting up just for yourself and your own intentions or whatever it is for your path.
Mhm.
You can have a working one, like we talked about, especially for practitioners. In my opinion, you should have a working
Yeah.
altar if you are a practitioner of any sort.
Yes.
Ancestral ones, the first one we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, strictly just paying homage to and honoring those who passed before you in your line.
Mhm.
So just keep that in the back of your mind. You can have multiple altars depending on purpose and intention.
Yeah. I have 3 floors in my home. Every floor has altars, different ones. I have working altars on every floor, obviously. I have an ancestral altar on my main floor. And in the top floor, I have a entire wall that is dedicated to homage to my husband and my deceased family members. So I have a big plaque up there and it says something, I don't know, something family. I can't remember. Isn't that great? Something family. And then there's just all different frames, no rhyme, no reason. But just different family members that have passed, and it's a way of us honoring them. And across from that wall is an altar that I have there as well. I strongly, obviously, believe in having altar space. I strongly believe in that. Because am I gonna go all the way, 3 floors down to light my incense, say my prayer, give my gratitude, whatever it may be for that day? Am I gonna do no, no, I'm sorry. No, ma'am. Nope. I am way too lazy for that shit. So I am
I
gonna
like
make one.
ease. I
Yeah.
don't.
I'm gonna make one on every floor. You know what I mean? It
I
just makes my
like
life
ease.
easier.
I like to be able to just be in whatever space and
Yeah.
have something already working. I mean, like in one example, for you guys also too, when we're talking about just the size and customizing it in my kitchen, there's a little tiny altar, and I just used what I already had. So
Yeah.
what's those things called? The cake, those pedestal things that you put cakes and cookies on or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know, but I know what
What
you're
you know what I'm
referring
talking
to.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a
Like a pastry
domesticated
dish,
like
right?
that. Something like that. Yeah, it has a little pedestal thing and it's
Mhm.
flat. People put cakes on top. So I just have that. I've already had it. And it's just that little round area, but that is a dedication to this is a space where the family gathers the most,
Mhm.
and the intention behind that.
Mhm.
There's, like little tiny tumble stones, not even big, massive, just little tumble stones that um, serve an intention for this space because dining room, kitchen, everyone's passing through,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
all like the brunt of family conversations happen there,
Right.
and stuff like that. So, and there's a little incense stick holder thing on it,
Mhm.
little propagated plant. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a little family altar. So you see,
Yes.
it can be super simple. And I tell everybody this. I know we've talked about this, we've touched on this before. You don't have to go buy crazy amounts of things. It doesn't have to be extravagant. You can make an altar out of whatever you already have
Mhm.
on hand.
Well,
So,
I think it's funny because you know, me, you know this
uh-huh.
about me, but I will watch these things on social media where women will clean their house and then they
Mhm.
will have like this little cute little plant and then this little knick-knack thing, and then they will light a candle.
Light a
And I'm
candle.
like,
Yeah.
bitch, bitch, I know what you're doing. You are blessing that space. You don't even
Yes.
realize
You
that
don't
you are
realize that you're doing
consecrating
that.
that space. You're
Yeah.
blessing it. Yeah.
I know I'm the same way. I know you know already know this, but we like to watch those that don't know us that well.
Yeah.
We like to watch
Yeah.
cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Uh
But it's
so
so funny
and
because people are
it's
doing it and they don't
always, yeah.
realize what they're doing, you know?
There's even like running jokes. I've seen videos about this where it's like the husband's point of view, where it's like when she lights that candle,
Yeah.
you better not touch anything in that space
Yeah.
because we do that. And I think too that kind of is, I look at that also as kind of an ingrained your that feminine power and that
Sure.
driving intuition and stuff
Yeah.
because I mean, I challenge you guys to go and look at cleaning videos or anybody, or even people or even yourself that you don't realize you do this. When you're done cleaning a space,
Uh-huh.
you're clearing the clutter, that's energetically clearing it
Yep.
too.
Yep.
You're doing all these things you don't realize.
Yep.
Your intention is to have a pristine, organized space. So you're already putting your blessings on it, and then you light the fucking candle at the end.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's funny. I have a Tanako. Have I said how lazy I am today? So I have a Tanako, right? And I will literally put Florida water in my Tanako and I will do my floors. And I'm like, I am clearing all the,
Mm-hmm.
stagnant, it could be stagnant, leftover energy.
Right.
I just like to have a nice clear space. And I will use
Mm-hmm.
that. And I just think it's so humorous when I watch people and they're doing things and I'm like, you just don't know. You are literally blessing your space. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Consecrating it, blessing it. That's what you're doing. Um
Yep.
and if we do it because we're outwardly spoken practitioners, ooh, that's really woo-woo. That's really woo-woo. But
Right.
it's like millions of people that are doing it all the time,
All the time. So hopefully this episode like connects the dots for people and they're just like,
Yeah.
oh, and hopefully this episode for those who did not view things as a ritual practice, because
Yeah.
cleaning your space is a ritual practice,
Uh-huh.
um, start to add that, just boost that intention a little bit.
And
See how the energy in your space shifts. See how the people in your house react and, you know, notice that, observe that, put some extra intentional oomph behind what you already do
yeah.
and watch how it unfolds.
So we are approaching the 1st of October, but it's already in full
Oh
swing
yeah.
where everybody's having this fall overdrive. And I have
Yeah,
this
yeah.
running theory. There's all the jokes about the white girls who love, the
Oh,
pumpkin
like the pumpkin
spice.
spice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm telling you, people are drawn to the pumpkin spice because of the nutmeg and the cinnamon, which in our belief
Hmm.
structure, if you know anything about herbs, that's all about abundance. It's about
Yeah. And isn't there
money.
clove? Isn't there
Money.
clove mixed
Yes.
in there too?
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
So when I see people who are like, oh, the pumpkin spice candle and the pumpkin this, and
Or
I'm like, yeah, you
the
want
cinnamon
money.
brooms.
Yeah.
The brooms too.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's
Look at you go.
I'm sitting here, watching these people on social media and I'm like, yeah, they literally have no idea. They have no idea. More power to you. That's fantastic. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
moment that a practitioner says it, we're woo-woo. You guys are doing this shit already. You just don't know what you're
Mm-hmm.
invoking. That's all. You have no
Mm-hmm.
idea. I do it with
Oh yeah.
intention and thoughtfulness, so I'm gonna manifest that very quickly. Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
yours is gonna take a minute.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is, and I think that's why we are really big advocates on your intention and your practice. And even if you are already doing these things, you're listening to us or watching us, and you're like, shit, I do that. Pumpkin spice everything right now. Everybody goes bananas.
Sure.
And everyone's clearing all of the summer stuff out and putting all of the fall harvest
Yeah.
elements in
Yep.
your home.
Yep.
You know what, too? The big one I've been seeing a lot, entryways. Everybody has been inside and out,
Yep.
inside and out. Entryways.
Yep.
What you think you're doing?
Yep. I
Uh-huh.
know. I saw this girl who was making her own wreath, and she was like, this is super simple, it's super easy. And it was like dollar store stuff that she was
Hmm.
assembling. And she got this big thing of cinnamon, that was cinnamon sticks like this. And she's like, oh, and it just smells so good and it's so great. And I'm like, and you're putting it on your front door and you're saying, give me money. That's essentially
Yep.
what it's doing.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, gosh, if she had the intention behind that, because she made it with her own hands, right? If she had
Hmm.
the intention behind that, imagine her manifestation that will come about just from doing that. Because
Oh
it
yeah.
is, our intention is everything. And if you're going, oh, I'm just making something pretty, that's not the intention you want when you are asking for
Right.
abundance.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which,
And it is, I think that's a good point too that you make, even just with the dollar store thing.
yeah.
You can just go to go to the dollar store and make your own, like a wreath thing is a good example.
Mhm.
Do that. Add that intention behind it. I mean, hell, everybody's already cleaning out their entryways, sweeping in, clearing, and adding all of this fun
Yeah.
abundance bringing stuff in.
I got a tray about this big from the dollar. Now, mind you, it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I'm kind of a whore for the 5 quarter store, but um, I had a tray about this big, and that's what I started out with. That's legitimately what I started out with on my sideboard. It was like, okay, it's very contained in here. So, very much like you were describing in your kitchen with this,
Mm-hmm.
cake riser. Oh, that's what it's called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I'm
just,
not.
I just got it. Just see my brain. It started to work again. Um, so for me, I put like little stones, little things on there. When I was first starting out, I had a candle, I had a flower, I had little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just took over the entire sideboard. I don't know, just one day it just
It just
started to
it
spread.
just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. My very first altar that I did, I actually just took a piece of uh, plywood that we had in the garage and a cinder block, and I made a little table with it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
thinking about what I wanted to put on there, and again, at the time, not really in the space to be spending so much. I'm
Yeah.
a big family.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
we're the modern day Brady Bunch around here.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
but I I started to think of, okay, what are these? And at the time, this turned into a working altar, so it was working, thinking about recognizing signs and synchronicities and kind of how your team communicates with you, and
Mhm.
realizing what all of these little signs that you've been seeing. For me, it was like my whole fucking life, that
Yeah.
I didn't connect the dots.
Yeah.
So I wanted to honor that in some way. I printed out a picture of this particular thing. It was a flower, but a particular flower.
Mhm.
I didn't, I just print, I already had a printer. and a computer. So I just printed out a picture.
Yep.
A little, 4x6, cut it, and then put it on my altar. So it does not have to be expensive or elaborate.
Right.
As it has to be intentionally purposeful to you.
Yes.
Bottom line.
We'll be right back after this short break.
For me, at that time, when I first started, I was very firmly in the closet, didn't want anybody to know what I was doing. So for me, everything I put, I wanted it to look like it was very intentional for my
Oh yeah.
decor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I did have rose quartz, but it was very finished rose quartz, and it was polished, and it very seamlessly went with my decor. I did have a candle, but the candle that I had also looked like a decor candle. I had an incense holder, but it was made of the same color wood as the rest of my furnishings in there. So it was very thoughtful, my approach to everything. And now it's just like, whatever, I see something, I'll take a walk and I'll be like, this twig is really cool. I'll bring it home. Like, I like this twig. But I mean, it definitely has shifted. It, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
I was
Oh
so
yeah.
firmly in the closet. I did not want anybody to make it obvious that it was an altar.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
And and I think I think that in my opinion, I think that's the beauty of having multiple altars as well, because you can, and I'm, for one, I like things to be aesthetically pleasing to me.
Right.
So even if you have something in your home and you want to do something in your living room, for example, no one says you can't blend it into your surroundings that you already have.
Oh, sure.
And because again, intention is the driving force for that. So you
Right.
can curate these things that already go with your personal aesthetic
Yeah.
in your home or your space, and then you
Yeah.
can have another one that is very tailored and specific to whatever intention you have, right? That's funny because it reminds me of, I moved into one office in particular. I don't remember which one because those of you that know me personally, I've moved offices quite a few times.
Yeah.
So, running joke between me and my clients, where are we at this year? So anyways, a friend of mine was coming in, and I had just started setting up a working altar in this space and was thinking, my shaman brain just goes elements and I need
Yeah. Yeah.
representation of elements.
Yeah.
And she comes in and she turns, and there's like a twig, like a little branch with twigs on it stuck on her dress. And I was like, oh, I needed something earth. Thank you. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's maybe about that big. It's a little broken piece of branch, and that serves, it still have it till this day, years and years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be stuff that you just find outside.
Yep.
That nature that you want to represent on your space.
Yep.
So,
For shamans, we do represent the elements, but there's a lot of practitioners who still represent the elements.
yeah.
And it's really easy. It's so easy to represent the elements. Go find a feather, take a walk, you'll find. I mean, I'm in Michigan. If I can find a feather, you can find a feather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she said, a twig, a branch, whatever, dirt, just dirt in general, go in your backyard. take your
Mm-hmm.
tablespoon and
Mm-hmm.
put some dirt and put it in a little fingertip dish, a small little dish. And there's your
Yeah.
earth, bless some water. There's your water,
Yeah.
You can even have a stone to represent earth because they all come from
Mm-hmm.
earth. Um, and a candle will represent your fire. You got it all right there.
Oh yeah.
You got it all right there.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think that kind of segues into that, you know, things that you can put on your altar. You can put anything that represents that. If you have a statue or a picture, like Chris had said,
Mhm.
um, you can use that. Any books, any writings, anything like that, any sacred texts, you can put that up there. Any natural elements, flowers, feathers, shells, stones, it doesn't matter. You can put that there. Any crystals that feel like an energy, or I'm going to piggyback on what you said, Chris. Make sure they all have a purpose for you, you
Yeah.
know? But a candle is most important because that is representing the light and illumination. So a candle is really purposeful. I suggest a white candle because it's considered all purpose. So
Mhm.
I recommend, if this is your first time setting up an altar, to get a white one. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It can be small, it can be a birthday candle, okay? It does not
Mhm.
matter, but have one up there. Have one up there. Put the items in a way that feels meaningful to you. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It should resonate with your personal sense of aesthetic and spirituality. And then when you're all done, consecrate it. You know, Once everything is set up, consecrate that. I keep tongue twisting that. Consecrate your altar by just saying a prayer, a blessing. It can be formal or it can just be a simple statement of intention. Okay.
Mhm.
And then maintain it, you know, clean it regularly, update it, freshen it up with different items, spend time at your altar every single day. That's what a working altar means, even if it's for a few moments, because you
Yeah.
want to maintain the energy, your connection with it.
Even if you pass by it, I've told people this before too. Even if you passing by it, you pause and then just put your hand on and just touch it, just connect with it, through the day. And I think that's a good point too that you're making with keeping it, updating it, and refreshing it is
Yeah.
as you grow, your altar's going to change.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Be okay with switching things out or if it's earth elements that you're shifting out, put them back into the earth.
Mm-hmm.
If it I have at a point where I refreshed some altars, and the stones I was using were no longer serving that. I
Mm-hmm.
gifted them out, or you'd find another use for them or gift them out. Spirit does that to me a lot. So I gift a lot of things out. But you know, that's one little tidbit that wasn't necessarily shared with me in the very beginning. And this is before you, way back when.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I get attached to things, especially sentimental things,
Yeah.
and I when it was time to shift that altar, that plywood cinder block altar, um I had a little bit of a hard time because I was like, oh, I have it set, it's good, it's great, it's working. And then you grow and things
Oh,
started
yeah.
shifting. So, I was like, what do I do with everything that I have on it? Because it means something to me. I've dumped my intention in here.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in the back of your mind too. Your altar is going to be evolving as you evolve,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
I can tell you when I shift and I move, this has happened several times throughout the years, but when I shift and I clean it off and I'm moving it, there is going to be a big shift in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It is something I have always seen coming. I'll be in the middle of taking everything off and cleaning everything, and then I'll be like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" You know, like,
You
oh,
learn to pay attention to
yeah,
these
yeah, like,
tidbits for yourself that
okay,
it's like, okay.
what's really happening now? You know, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it happens. It just, it happens. But creating an altar, I think, is an extremely deeply personal and empowering act. It is a
Yes.
reflection of your spiritual journey. An altar is simply a tool to aid you in your growth. And I
Mm-hmm.
strongly encourage you to take the time to create your own altar and just see how it enhances your spiritual practice. Um, Everybody is different, but I can sit here and lecture about this for hours, and you are never going to know the benefits of it until you do it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
one
doesn't.
of those ones you got to just actually do it and
Yeah,
experience it for yourself. Absolutely.
yeah,
And yeah, I totally agree with that. And it is something, and I'm like, I am always amazed at, and I leave this food for thought. Notice what new awarenesses come to you after you put your altar, you
mhm,
set your intention, you do your own blessing and speak from the heart. It doesn't have to be certain words or anything like that. It's your intention going into this space that you're setting up. So just speak authentic.
yeah,
Um for you and yourself and your God. That's it. That's all it is. Just however you want to say it. See how things shift for you, see what new awarenesses come to you about your life, your journey, your practice if you're
yep,
practicing, your development if you're in development. Um, I always say, literally, spirit is just waiting for the green light to be like 0 to 6 to 0 to 100.
yep,
So
yep.
yeah.
The most accurate statement ever. There,
So
look, the only person that's holding you back is you. That's it. Nobody else. So,
yeah,
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it on up unless you have anything else you want to add before we finish off.
yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Wait, I
Cool.
actually do.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Uh, let's say you only want to do one altar in your home for now. I know you will have many, but let's just say you want to do one for now and
Hmm.
you're like, oh, how can I incorporate a working altar and an ancestral altar? Here's the tip. Get a small plant to represent your family tree. Okay.
Hmm. That's
That's
a good
it. That's
idea.
all you
Yeah.
got to do. And then you've incorporated it. That's it. That's the only tip. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
No, no,
just
good.
I'm hearing it in my head.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, I should say this. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, good idea. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this week's episode. We appreciate your presence and hope that you found this helpful and that this gives you some food for thought or realize that you're already doing shit
Yeah.
to
Yeah. I'm
to
already doing
you're already
it.
doing
Okay.
you're already doing it. So let's boost the intention behind it. But if you found this helpful and it resonates with you, or you know somebody that it will, we always appreciate the energetic exchange of sharing, liking, subscribing. And when you subscribe on our YouTube, or I think they do it on Spotify too, make sure you hit the little notification things as we post so you'll be notified when we post our episodes and the topics of the week. And as always, we love stories, we love questions, we love comments. So leave them for us. And yeah, until next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.